First play of this drive does little to inspire optimism in this crowd.
Vance Johnson way out to the right where Lester Hayes has him. And Elway rolls in that direction and goes long. It's a bad pass, and Hayes will intercept. Mike Haynes has his second interception of the year as the pass wobbled. Watson was deep, and that was a perfect chance for Mike Haynes, his second of the game, third of the year.
Howie Long just about knocked himself out as he hit John Elway. He's still wobbling there. Elway trying to avoid the sack. Will feel the pressure coming from the backside. Howie Long, 75, will be coming into your picture, and Elway throws the ball and literally goes into his third interception of the day by trying to avoid the sack.
From Arizona State, Mike Haynes, 7 times a Pro Bowler, and he's had a good day today. Only 1 interception coming in and 2 against the Broncos this afternoon. 38 on his career. And it positions the Raiders down 14-7 at the Bronco 46-yard line. Oh, Mecklenburg. No, it isn't Mecklenburg. Simon Fletcher, 73, greeting Allen for a loss. He's one of the top picks, or rookie picks of the Broncos out of the University of Houston.
Dan Reeves mentioned that he had played well last week. They put him in that 4-man alignment, and he said he played so well in his first exposure that we're going to give him a chance to play some more. Well, now you know why.
Single parent. He's raising his 2-year-old daughter, Ashley. I said, what are you learning from her? He said, patience. I said, what are you teaching her? He said, I'm trying to teach her to get potty trained, like any parent with a 2-year-old. Puts everything in perspective. Wilson. Scrambling, Mecklenburg gets him from behind at the 39. 7 yards for Wilson.
A fine play by Mark Wilson, who recognized there was no place to go. Mecklenburg talking about his unique opportunity. The fact that he gets to move around in that defense and literally has the kind of freedom. And, well, we've seen that with other players and other teams. We used to watch the Stork. Teddy Hendricks do that for this Raider team, and of course he played just the linebacking positions. Mecklenburg will also play all the down line positions.
Broncos answer to Joe Palooka. This has been a trouble spot for Mark Wilson, where Elway's 2 touchdown drives have involved making the 3rd down conversion. And a scramble again. He's got the 1st down and a flag with it. It appeared they got the face mask.
They're going for the head. These officials, I'm sure, conscious of the explosive potential of this rivalry, they're not going to tolerate a lot of messing around on the field.
Randy Robbins, second-year man from Arizona.
Face mask, 15 yards, number 48. First down.
And that's the big penalty. Tackling with the mask. Touching the mask, grabbing the mask, a 5-yard penalty. When you use it and jerk the man down with it, as they do right there, he's got the head, yanking it down.
Watch him with he makes contact with the right hand. Look at the left hand. He jerks that head around. Partially screened by Dennis Smith. 15 yards. First down at the 20 for the Raiders. They trail 14-7. 5:41 left, 3rd quarter. Allen straight ahead to the 15-yard line. 5 more for Allen. Remember when he complained about not getting the ball enough a couple of years ago, and Al Davis says, you want to run more? He said, yes, I want to run more. Al said, why don't you take a couple of laps? Well, he's getting his chance this year.
Coming into this year, the highest number of carries he had ever in a ball game was 26 for the Raiders. This year he's had a 31-carry game, a 30-carry game, and a 29-carry game.
And loves it.
And loves it, and is enjoying it. And the great backs love to have those opportunities. They seem to get stronger as the game goes on. That's the way Marcus is playing here today.
2nd and 5. Wide open. Oh, it deflected. Hester was open at the 3, and the man in front was Dennis Smith. He just got a piece of it. You'll see this ball deflect right out of the grasp of Hester.
Fingertips. Just the barest amount of deflection on that ball, but it's enough. There's no way. If he doesn't get a finger on this ball, it's a sure catch. just touches it, and the ball goes right to the helmet of Hester and bounces away.
Was that a great play by Dennis Smith? He'd lost his footing going down and still had the presence to reach up and make the play.
He made a great interception with that kind of ball reaction earlier in the game. In fact, it was he that stopped the touchdown drive in the first quarter.
3rd and 5. Allen, who else? First down, touchdown. Just gliding so smoothly into the end zone. And it's 14-13. And talk about a touchdown maker.
The game breakers, no question about it. On a play where the Broncos were thinking pass, Marcus Allen is running.
15 yards and a chance to tie as they'll tee it up for Chris Barr. It's a new game after the interception by Mike Haynes at the Denver 46. Marcus Allen, 15 yards, a touchdown that ties it up. Former Dallas Cowboys star Dan Reeves in his 5th year already the winningest coach in Bronco history. Tom Flores, 20 years now in the silver and black as a player and a coach, his 7th year as head coach. It's 14 all. Johnson from the goal line. Ooh, is he hammered at the 16-yard line. A vicious hit.
47, Don Bessalou, a new acquisition by this Raider team, and Johnson almost did not get up off the ground.
Marcus Allen, a reprieve, 15 yards, set up beautifully. Allen, following his blockers, saw the opening, and then it was history.
What a nice block by 73 Charlie Hanna to spring him loose.
Now, the game breakers. Elway, who had the lead in the first half, Allen has almost equaled Elway's game total with a brilliant 3rd quarter, and the game even at 14. Elway starts from the Denver 15. Overthrows Steve Watson on the near sidelines. Let's pause briefly for station identification from Denver. This is the NBC Television Network. In the East today, the 3 teams who are at 9-4 have all won. New England, Miami, and the New York Jets. 2 teams here in the West, 9-4. Of those 5, only 4 can make the playoffs, and the loser today will find himself in a tough spot. Although the Raiders are in a better position than Denver to accept the loss. We'll tell you more about that later. 2nd and 10. Long pursuing, and there'll be a penalty against the man trying to block Howie Long. They did everything but wrestle him down.
Tremendous pressure being generated, in particular in this 3rd quarter, on Elway. And we'd mentioned he's tried to get away from the sack by dumping the football during the day. Look at Townsend, 93. 3 Broncos trying to block him. He'll spring free, but there's Howie Long, 75. And you saw the holding right there, someone trying to tackle him. The Atlanta Falcons tried to control him that way last week. There were 5 calls for holding on the man who was trying to block Howie Long last week.
Hold on, I believe they're going to call that against the Raiders.
Number 93, first down.
They said that Townsend was holding the blockers. There's an unusual call.
Not terribly unusual in a sense that when you run a stunt, you'd like to occupy the different people. And he's going in to grab as many bodies as he can get a hold of there. Now, that's a strange call. He's just trying to get away from a hammerlock.
Meanwhile, Long was being tackled by the man endeavoring to block him.
You see holding called against defensive linemen often, but I don't think that was a good call.
To the 24-yard line goes Sewell, a gain of 4, and more importantly, the Townsend foul carried with it the automatic first down, so that really helped Elway and the Broncos out of a jam. By the way, the Broncos in the 3rd quarter, we told you, haven't scored a touchdown in 8 games. They certainly haven't today, and they have not made a first down in this 3rd quarter, while the Raiders have racked up 8 and 2 touchdowns to tie the game. Nathan Poole, he's been sitting in a computer office all this past year, hasn't played football for 2 seasons, and with a desperate condition of the running back status here in Denver with the injuries to the likes of, well, most recently Gene Lang, Poole, who played a couple of years in Cincinnati, 2 years in Denver, was signed right out of the office. Said, I'm no Walter Payton. Believe me, I'll try to make the adjustment.
An inspiration, I'm sure, to everyone who feels that they can put on a uniform and partake of the activity on the field.
Broncos hungry for just the first down. Elway needs 4. And he'll get it with that throw to Steve Watson. And look at Lester Hayes. That's not the new funky chicken. He thought he was being pushed. First down, Denver.
Right at the end of the play, Watson, who'd done a great job of reaching down to pick that one up off the ground. And there's Lester saying, hey, he's pushing me. One of the things that the Broncos did on that play was move their wide receivers in close to the line, in closer to the center of the line to give them more room to work on the outside.
2 minutes and 33 seconds left in the third quarter. Here in Denver, it's tied at 14. Down at the 35-yard line, and the Raiders have done a good job in defensing the running of Winder. He was the only Pro Bowler in the entire Denver team last year, despite the fact the Broncos won the West and were 13-3. Total yards third quarter, well, that figures with the Raiders getting 14 points and the Broncos none.
Well, and if you credit either what is done or not done by an offensive team to what they are able to adjust to at halftime, the Denver coaches must be using the wrong formula in the locker room during the half.
Steve Sewell sent way out to the right side in this formation, and Turan on the blitz, and so Elway has to dump it. Incomplete. No one blocked Turan, and Elway had no choice. He was going to take a big loss if he didn't dump it off.
Simply overloaded. There was no one to pick Elway up, and Elway knew he had to get rid of the ball. He was complaining because he felt the hit was late.
Well, one of the sons in the wide receiver corps for Denver comes in, Sampson. They have 2 Johnsons and Watson.
I don't think there's another defensive scheme in football that puts more pressure on a quarterback than the Raiders' defense.
That is an incredibly good percentage on third down. 7 out of 10 for Denver. 3rd and 6. Fake to Johnson. Elway's going to run it. Howie Long chases him out of bounds, shy of the first down. And a flag goes down. Elway trying to stop, and the officials rule that he got some assistance from a Raider.
That's like a hornet's nest over there. Elway just trying to get out of bounds. And you may see another flag thrown in the air over there. Some of the Broncos over to bring Elway out, give him a little escort. I think Elway decided early on that play he was simply going to run. Here's the play. What they're saying is that Rod Martin is taking him down out of bounds. Well, he hit him out of bounds, and Elway obviously was carrying himself out of bounds. But it seems like a bit of a puny effort to throw a 15-yard flag on it.
The conditions, like most accidents, it takes more than one element. In this case, the slippery canvas over there on the Raider sidelines. Had that been a normal situation, Elway would have stopped, probably wouldn't have fallen so dramatically, and there would not have been a flag. But it looked worse than Martin's. In fact, you could almost make a case for Martin trying to catch Elway.
And of course, that would have brought up a critical 4th down. Elway escaping twice in this drive because of penalties against the Raider defense. And one has to believe that these officials are so concerned about this game getting away from them that they're calling it awfully carefully.
See that bulge on the knee of Elway. Protection that he needs. First down.
Look out.
James Wright. And the former TCU star. Close to a first down at the 39. Brad Van Pelt was pressuring Elway.
You see Elway limping. That's that bad left leg. He wears the big brace to protect it. But he has taken a lot of shots today. Many times as he's gotten the football away, he has found himself flat on his back looking up the sky.
If I was a head coach, leading the NFL as a quarterback in rushing is not a good statistic. But sometimes it's a matter of conditions, and Elway continues to run the football.
as they measure for the first down. The one thing that you have to know about Elway is that he wants to be the impact player on that offense, and he has really been the key, both with his running and with his throwing. Today, the yardage is good, but the interceptions, and he's been doing a much better job of that. And again, I think Dan Reeves had talked to him and said, just throw that ball away. Well, in throwing it away today, he's thrown it to the white-shirted Raiders on 3 different occasions.
He's just a few yards away from setting a new Denver Bronco all-time yardage mark. He's already this season set new marks here in Denver for most passes, most completions. He'll move ahead of Tripucka and Morton with about 30 more yards this afternoon, just short of the first down at the 38 of the Raiders. That's a down to play with 2nd and inches. 1 minute 17 seconds left in the third.
Dick, is it just me, or is it that the Raiders don't look quite as intimidating in those white uniforms as they do in those big black jerseys?
Something about that black. Well, it's almost become the expected, hasn't it, to go to the pass, 2nd and short, and it's almost intercepted by Turan. Double coverage on Watson. They had Hayes playing behind Watson, and then Turan from a safety spot underneath.
Showing his confidence, and we talked about money receivers. This is the guy that Elway wants to go to, and I think, again, credit the velocity of that pass. Turan up there in front of it, but it couldn't get his hands on it. Elway really put some heat on that ball.
Christensen, and they go to him. We've seen that today, and Watson the same. That's the man to watch when you need that yardage on 3rd and short. In this case, it'll be Sewell running for the first down to the 36. Last minute of the 3rd quarter, a tie game in Denver.
Dick, even though this Raider team doesn't look quite as intimidating in those white uniforms, I don't think you're going to mistake them for a boys club choir.
Now, something that people don't talk much about, but every time the Raiders play somewhere, it's a rivalry. Everybody wants to beat the Raiders. Kansas City, it's the Raiders. That's their main rival. Seattle, it's the Raiders. Here in Denver, it's the Raiders.
You know, they like not being liked, though.
They work on it. Winder. And again, read so well by the defense of the Raiders. Winder, a long run for him today has been 5 yards. Broncos failed to score again in the 3rd quarter, and after 3, it's tied at 14. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.